Bowlby and Ainsworth's experiment, The Strange Situation, picks up that there are three different kinds of reaction specifically to the reunion experience when the parent comes back in the room. What they also found, in addition to this kind of 60-40 split, they found that some children, about 15%, would show rather odd behaviour when the caregiver came in the room. So we're talking here about, toddlers, one and a half, 3.5 years of age. But it was when the parent came back in the room that they did something that perplexed both of them. They would do odd things. They would walk toward the caregiver, but turn their head the other way. So they'd literally do that, shut their eyes. They would put their hands up. They would fall on the floor and become still and motionless for 20, 30 seconds. They would walk toward the caregiver or around as if they were underwater. And it was this temporary, fleeting nature to their behaviour. And this odd, stilled, motionless, contradictory behaviour that really kind of shocked Bowlby and Ainsworth. So the child who's experiencing disorganised attachment is frightened by their haven of safety. So they're afeared of the person that should be offering them a secure base. So if you take the child who is frightened of being on their own in the room, frightened of a dog being in the room, their caregiver comes into the room, and it's at that point that their behaviour breaks down. They can't go to the dog. Well, why would you if you're frightened of it? They don't like being in the room on their own. No child likes that. But when they see the caregiver, their natural reaction is to go toward the caregiver, but their brain realises fairly quickly that actually the caregiver is more dangerous than being alone, or the dog, or whatever else it is that's frightening them. And it's that slowed down, where you've got, I'm scared of this, but I'm more scared of the caregiver, that produces what Mary Main so evocatively called fear without solution.
Another technique that can be used to ascertain children's wishes and feelings is the use of puppets. And puppets are generally appropriate for children around the age of 8 and under. Frequently, children project their own thoughts and feelings onto puppets. So in this way, the puppets allow children to the distance needed to communicate their feelings. So for example, you could invite the child to talk to the puppet. For example, can you tell Freddy Frog why you were sad? Or alternatively, if the child is more shy or withdrawn, you can talk to the puppet yourself, saying, Freddy Frog seems sad. Do you think he could tell you why? As you ask this through the puppet, take your eye contact away from the child so that they can tell the puppet without inhibition. The second technique I mentioned is called the window. So what you do is you draw a window on a piece of paper with 4 panes for the child. Then ask the child to draw in the top right-hand corner a picture of something in their past, and in the bottom right-hand corner a picture of the present. In the top left corner, you then ask them to draw a picture of their hoped-for future, and in the bottom left-hand corner, a picture of the fear that will prevent their hoped-for future being fulfilled. Again, this exercise can actually result in the child's most significant anxiety or fears being disclosed, which can be very helpful when assessing needs and trying to ascertain their wishes and feelings. So thinking about how, once we've carried out direct work with children, how we make sense of it and put it into our reports as social workers. So it's important to remember that although in direct work with children the focus is on the here and now, it must be informed by a sense of the importance of the child's history in relation to the behaviour of the present. So in terms of reports, highlight the themes and patterns from your observations. Use the evidence from your play interviews or sessions, and don't rely on the methods alone. You really need to bring them alive in your descriptions of the work you carried out with the child. It's also essential that you tell the child what you're actually going to tell the judge. So you may say something like, I know how much you love your mum and dad, and I told the judge that you love them lots. but you also told me that you were scared, and I therefore told the judge that I didn't think it was safe for you to stay with them. Honesty is always reassuring for children, as they know deep down often what is right, but they often have such loyalty to their parents that they cannot say so. So finally, it's really important, therefore, to remember that we have a job to do, not only directly for the child, but also directly with the child.